देश ने एक बहुत महत्वपूर्ण फैसला लिया है। आजादी के अमृत महोत्सव के 75 सप्ताह में, इन 75 सप्ताह में 75 वंदे भारत ट्रेनें देश के हर कोने को आपस से जोड़ करके रही होगी।
A fitting announcement on India's 75th Independence Day. Over 75 weeks of the Amrit Mahotsav. "75 Vande Bharat Express trains to connect every corner of India." A product of the Make in India initiative, Vande Bharat Express is India's first world-class semi-high-speed passenger train. Quick acceleration, automatic sliding doors, onboard infotainment, passenger information based on global positioning system are a few of the ultra-modern features on this state-of-the-art train. Vacuum bio-toilets with zero discharge, retractable footsteps are other amenities that mark a paradigm shift for the Indian Railways.
Indian Railway has done very remarkable job doing this bridge, actually connecting Arunachal Pradesh with rest of India.
Now the connectivity with Arunachal Pradesh has increased so much. People can go easily to Arunachal Pradesh, and from Arunachal Pradesh also people can come easily.
Namaskar, hello and a very warm welcome viewers. You're watching this special presentation of Sansad TV. Over its 161-year-old history, the evolution of Indian Railways has seen remarkable shifts. In recent years, there has been a tremendous growth and its best ever performance in the areas of rail safety and modernization. The Railways has gone from being a state-run operation, oblivious to the needs of its passengers, obstinate in its reluctance to change, to a sleek, comfortable and consumer-friendly mode of transportation. Over the next half an hour, let's take a look at its story of transformation and modernization. Let's also take a look at its aspirations, plans and expectations from the upcoming budget. So fasten your belts on this speed ride.
Indian Railways is the lifeline of India. The railway network unites the distance, geography and diversity of the nation. Built in 1853 in British colonial rule, it is today the world's third largest rail network. The railway network is spread over 67,956 kilometers. Its 13,000 plus passenger trains ferry 23 million travelers daily from 7,500 railway stations. Over 8,000 trains carry 3 million tons of freight. India's railway network is one of the largest railway systems in the world under single management. With 14 lakh employees, Indian Railways is the largest employer in India and 8th biggest in the world. The first railway proposals for India were made in Madras 1832. Indian Railways started its service on 16th April 1853 when the first passenger train travelled 33 kilometers from Mumbai to Thane. The train with over 14 railway carriages carried around 400 guests from Bori Bandar at 3:30 p.m. A public holiday was declared to commemorate that event. Despite being a relic of colonial rule, Indian Railways rapidly defined and shaped the nation post-independence. In 1947, the departure of the Britain split the nation in two. The railways lost more than 40% of its network to newly created Pakistan. Post-independence, railways accounted for 75% of public transport and 90% freight in India. Today, while revenues have stayed strong, it accounts for only 15% of public transport and 30% of freight. Gross revenue of Indian Railway was 1,74,660.52 crore in financial year 2020. Freight earnings in financial year 20 were at 1,13,487.89 crore. Passenger earnings were at 50,669.09 crore. In 2020-21, Indian Railways achieved the highest ever electrification, covering 6,015 kilometers in a single year. 1,110 kilometers of dedicated freight corridors were successfully completed. It further achieved the highest ever capex utilization of 1.55 lakh crore. In 2020-21, the national transporter recorded an operating ratio of 97.45%. In the previous fiscal, it was 98.36%. Operating ratio refers to the amount spent to earn every 100 rupees. The lower this is, the better. The improvement means that Indian Railways reduced its costs while making up for the shortfall in passenger traffic through revenue generated by freight operations.
This year our operating ratio has been one of the worst in the history of railways. When we say operating ratio, that what we invest and what we earn, it is now 98 we invest and we are earning just 100. So only 2 rupees surplus. This budget must focus on this, how to improve this ratio. This can be possible by first improving the efficiency, work culture. No longer we can be in the mode of what we had just after independence. Means more and more generation of employment. Now we have to learn from the private sector. Even if we have to change our labor laws. I don't mean that we should minimize our workforce, but workforce can be utilized more efficiently. They need motivation also. And they are. What we during these 2 years it has been improved. Now again, the bigger question is, and for this budget also, how to raise finance. We have to go to PPP model, and this is not only the first time Indian Railways is introducing.
In a year that saw almost all economic activities grinding to a halt for months due to the pandemic, Indian Railways rewrote performance records. Treating COVID as a challenge, the railways ushered in an unprecedented growth in developing infrastructure, innovation, capacity expansion, freight diversification, and transparency. Turning the crisis into an opportunity, railways ushered in the next level of travelling experience for the passengers.
Faced with daunting COVID-related challenges, the Indian Railways was able to keep the national supply chains running throughout the months of the nationwide lockdown. It put its resources and staff to work, taking back millions of people home in adverse circumstances. It was on 1st of May 2020 that the wheels of trains started turning to ferry migrant workers home. With maximum trains to Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, Shramik Expresses carried 63.15 lakh passengers to 23 states in 4,621 trips between 1st May and 31st August 2020. Movement of critical items such as food grains, petroleum, coal never stopped. The national transporter introduced a series of discounts in freight rates on a large number of commodities and waived traditional season surcharges to attract volumes. Indian Railways reported record freight loading in the financial year 2020.
Indian Railways prepared a National Rail Plan for India 2030. The plan was for a future-ready railway system by 2030. The NRP is aimed to formulate strategies based on both operational capacities and commercial policy initiatives to increase modal share of railways in freight.
Main features of the National Rail Plan include formulating strategies based on operational capacities and commercial policy initiatives to increase modal share in freight to 45%, cutting transit time of freight by increasing average speed of freight trains to 50 km per hour. As part of the National Rail Plan, Vision 2024 was launched to accelerate the implementation of some critical projects by 2024. This included 100% electrification, multi-tracking congested routes, upgrading speed to 160 km on the Delhi-Howrah and Delhi-Mumbai routes, upgrading speed to 130 km per hour on all other Golden Quadrilateral, Golden Diagonal routes and eliminating all level crossings. The plan focused on identifying new dedicated freight corridors, new high-speed rail corridors, assessing rolling stock needs for passenger traffic and wagon requirement for freight, computing locomotive needs for 100% electrification and increasing freight modal share.
Indian railways are undergoing and embracing transformation in a big way. Now this is being supported by Government of India's national flagship initiative that is worth 111 lakh crore rupees National Infrastructure Pipeline. Now this scheme has a dedicated focus on the development of infrastructure in a holistic and orchestrated manner. Now railways have a lot of achievements today to showcase as one of the principal modes of transportation moving passengers and goods all across length and breadth of the nation. Rapid pace of electrification that would make Indian Railways achieve net zero carbon emission.
From electrification to cleanliness, passenger safety to world-class facilities, Indian Railways has transformed itself in many directions. For the first time since April 2019, there has been no passenger fatality in train accidents.
Over the last 5 years, train accidents have reduced from 104 in 2016-17 to 22 with zero fatalities in 2020-21. The Railways Ministry launched CORAs, Commandos for Railway Security, as a responder unit for any security situation like attacks, hostage, hijack or disaster situations in railway areas. The first deployment of the Railways Commando Unit will be in Naxal-hit areas of Chhattisgarh. In a visionary plan to further enhance safety of train operations, it has planned elimination of man-level crossings, indigenous train collision avoidance system, mechanized maintenance and inspection of tracks and bridges, upgradation of tracks and bridges, replacement of ICF coaches with safer and comfortable Tejas type LHB and train sets, elimination of mechanical signaling, simulator-based training of locomotive pilots, creation of Rashtriya Rail Sangraksha Kosh. Electrification has been given high priority as part of the national goal to transform India into a green nation. Indian Railways have set a stiff target of being a net zero emitter of carbon by 2030. In this regard, it has electrified 66% of track length by November 2020. The Railways is aiming to complete electrification of its entire broad gauge network by 2023. The speed of electrification has been greatly scaled up from 1,176 kilometers in 2014-15 to 5,276 in 2018-19 and 4,378 kilometers in 2019-20 despite the COVID setback. Indian Railways is taking various steps to ensure that it maintains cleanliness in its coaches, including the toilets. As a push to the cleanliness drive, the coaches, including toilets, are cleaned at both ends, starting point and destination, and that includes mechanized cleaning. The National Transporter carries out special cleanliness drive and awareness campaigns from time to time to make passengers more aware of the benefits of keeping the train coaches clean.
At the outset, on behalf of CII, I would like to commend and thank the Government of India and Indian Railways for the tremendous vision and actions in the area of infrastructure development, particularly in enhancing the rate of rail electrification, the trains, and modern signaling technology. Investment should also increase in research and design, manufacturing, and digitalization, which will be the key drivers in transformation of Indian Railways. For instance, the industry is today ready with 100% localized signaling solutions, which aim to enhance safety and throughput of rail operations.
As part of the railway budget, major announcements were made for increasing passenger safety and strengthening the national rail infrastructure last year. To improve passenger safety, it was proposed that high-density rail networks and highly utilized rail routes will be provided with indigenously developed automatic protection system.
India was the only country in the world with a separate railway budget. The 93-year-old exercise of presenting a separate railway budget was dispensed with by the Modi government on 21st September 2016. Instead, the government decided to merge both the railway budget and the union budget from 2017-18. The biggest benefit for the railways of there being no separate budget was that it now doesn't have to pay 9,700 crore to the government as annual dividend for gross budgetary support. Last year, Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman allocated 1,10,055 crore for Indian Railways. Of this, 1,07,100 crore was for capital expenditure.
I am providing a record sum of 1,10,055 crores for railways, of which 1,07,100 crores is for capital expenditure only.
Ahead of Budget 2022-23, the expectations of the sector are in line with priority accorded to infrastructure projects by the government, such as the National Infrastructure Pipeline and PM Gati Shakti. Experts believe that improving and strengthening railways can be a key driver of India's economic recovery. The budget is expected to bring more policy support for private trains, new train sets for faster connectivity on new routes, better rail connectivity to tourist and pilgrimage spots, expansion of railway infrastructure for better connectivity in northeastern states.
Keeping in view the various program and policy initiatives announced during last few years, there are very high expectations from the railway portion of the general budget this year. There has been a major development during the year where National Rail Plan has been unveiled, which envisages the increase in the rail share from 27% to 46% over a period of next 30 years. It has the whole gamut of infrastructure announcements like about 5,000 kilometers more DFCC corridors, 8,000 kilometers of high-speed corridors, and about 10,000 track kilometers towards the strengthening of Golden Quadrilateral and other network decongestion works.
The Indian Railway network is growing at a healthy rate. In the next 5 years, the Indian Railway market will be the third largest, accounting for 10% of the global market. The government has announced 2 key initiatives for seeking private investments: running passenger trains by private operators across the railways network and redevelopment of railway stations across the country. To become future ready, Indian Railways is on its path to deliver 58 supercritical as well as 68 critical projects worth more than 1,15,000 crore in the next few years on mission mode. For early completion, higher priority has to be given in budget allocation for the identified projects.
Amid all the COVID gloom overhanging in the country, the Indian Railways has remained one of the brightest spots. India's national transporter has shown exceptional resilience and optimism, and it looks well set to continue its good work over the coming years. With that, we sign off. Take care. Stay tuned to Sansad TV. Namaskar.